It's a lovely Friday morning right here on Millennium TV, channel 95 on Topster. We are also streaming live on our Facebook page. Welcome to the Millennium KWACHA Breakfast Show. Now, I'll be your host for the morning. My name is Kondwani Maplanga, and like usual, like we always do, is we're going to be giving you the headline pick on our headline segment, where we focus on three of our local newspapers, namely the Times of Zambia, the Daily Mail, as well as the Daily Nation. And obviously, you can actually get interactive with us by going to our Facebook page. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Dropping us a comment, a contribution, we would be more than happy to have you on this show. Now, right about now, I would like to actually dive right into the papers. Allow me to start it off by giving you the headlines in the Times of Zambia. IMF approves $189 million benefits of debt restructuring starts to unfold. We have school grants abuse punish thieving officials. BRE hails a graft fight. 6 children die. 17 Solwezi council workers suspended. And on the inside, we have thieves won't be shielded, warns PS Hamudu. Is Zuma going back to jail? And Morocco again. This takes us to the back page of the Times of Zambia. We have Morocco again. Chipolopolo discover 2026 World Cup opponents. HH stars in Copper Queen's anthem. Bafana biggest test yet. Sichone. Top golfers clash in Zambia Amateur Open. Nice to be back for Zambia. All the best queens. And these are the stories. We do have also Chinzewe meets droughts silver medal. These are stories making headlines in the Times of Zambia. We move on to the next paper, which will be the Daily Nation. We have UPND disowns Sujilite looters. Getru Dimenda, the ruling party deputy secretary general, says those involved in the Sujilite scandal should not be linked to the UPND. HH, no ethnicity in fight against corruption. Esther Lungu to be arrested, claims Nakachinda. Dr. Chisembe, resignation cabinet challenged. Debt restructuring not a magic bullet to Zambia's economic woes, Masumali. This takes us to the back page of the Daily Nation. We have a touch draw. Zambia to face base-ranked African team in World Cup qualifiers. Finals at stake as Zambia and South Africa renew rivalry. Rangers reinforce a technical bench. These are the stories making headlines in the Daily Nation. Taking us to our final paper, which will be the Daily Mail. Our main headline reads, I can find Kaiza Munia as lawmaker finally gets his freedom. BRE proud of government Ngambela. That takes us, we do still have more $189 million IMF cash loading. Nguzu's giving pensions headache. And we have Grandma Killer hands himself in. HRC condemns boy detention. And we have, on the inside, we have AI machines won't replace human beings. And in our inspiration note for the morning by Catherine Fisher, nothing has changed or will change, so we must change it. This takes us to the back page of the Zambia Daily Mail. We have Morocco hurdle. Zambia draw Qatar semi-finalists in race for 2026 finals. We have South Africa standing Zambia's way to COSAFA final. Buffalo's coach treks to Dar, joins young Africans. We have Copper Queens at World Cup for competition. Banda. Chinzewe shows character by climbing to the top. And in our briefs, Al Nassr handed signs ban. Mount Eyes impressing United fans. These are the stories making headlines in the Daily Mail. Remember, get interactive with us by going to our Facebook page. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Dropping us a comment, a contribution, would be more than happy to actually hear from you. What is happening in your area, in your locality? What is happening around you? What is happening with projects? What have you seen that is different in your area? Would like to know. Please remember the numbers that you will be calling on this morning are also 0770-813-728, 0770-813-728. I will be opening the phone lines a little bit later, probably in approximately 10 minutes. I will be able to open up the phone lines, but those are the numbers you will be calling on. Right about now, we do go to our newspapers and pick up some stories as we commence this discussion this morning. We have a very interesting story, I believe, that says Nguzu's giving pensions headache. This story can be found on the front page of the Zambia Daily Mail. So, the details do read, men in polygamous marriages should start writing wills clearly stating how their pension benefits should be shared because the distribution of funds is proving to be a source of fighting among widows, the Zambia National Pensions Association ZANAPA has advised. ZANAPA Southern Province Chairperson Richard Sikalundu said polygamous men should also include children born from extramarital affairs in their wills to avoid leaving behind property wrangles when they die. Mr. Sikalundu said the association has been dealing with a lot of disputes surrounding women in polygamous marriages who go to claim their husbands' benefits from public service pension funds, PSPF, as most senior wives want to get a larger chunk or completely deprive junior wives of the benefits. So you find that this senior wife will go to claim the late husband's benefits and they will even get consent from the other women so that they open one bank account bearing their name as the first wife. But the challenge mostly comes in after the money is paid. Some first wives just keep quiet when the money is paid, and when the other wives come to us to complain, they find that the benefits were already paid and the senior wife shared it with her children, he said. So my advice to these pensioners in polygamous marriages is let them write wills so that it covers everyone because these issues are becoming difficult to resolve, he added. Now that is the story. It does continue to page 3, but I believe we are able to actually understand some, some of the issues that have been stipulated there. And basic advice is that if you are in a polygamous marriage, or you're considering to be in one, consider writing a will on how your pension will be shared or how your pension will be distributed, rather. There is an issue that has been noted by the ZANAMAPA, which is the Zambia National Pensioners Association, which is saying that some polygamous marriages are having issues after the husband dies, where the wives start to argue and there are wrangles over who gets the property, who gets the pension, who receives the pension, and there are issues where some of the junior wives could be even entirely deprived of pension funds. Now, that is the advice coming through from ZANAMAPA to polygamous families, where they're actually advising to say we need to ensure that we introduce a system where you do write your will and you give all your details so that some of these issues can be dealt with. Yeah. So let's see. We do have other stories. We move to other stories. Let's see. In the Times of Zambia, we'll pick a story. So there's a sad story that is coming from the Times of Zambia, where it's under the headline, 6 children die. Now, 6 children from several townships in Livingstone have died from a mysterious disease which is presenting with severe diarrhea and vomiting. The deceased babies aged from 6 months to 24 months were brought in dead, with their parents confirming similar symptoms before they died. Southern Province Health Director Kalistas Kayunga said he was waiting for the people on the ground to give him the correct position on the matter. According to an impeccable source at the Livingstone University Teaching Hospital, LUTH, authorities were concerned that the children may have died as a result of undiagnosed diarrhea pandemic that is sweeping through the city. The source said the largest referral hospital in the province had in the last 1 month been receiving severe diarrhea cases from all parts of Livingstone. We have been receiving diarrhea cases from all parts of Livingstone, and it is prevalent in children between 6 months and 24 months. On Monday, we recorded 6 brought-in dead cases, and the cause of death was diarrhea and vomiting, the source said. It is a matter of concern, he said. Mr. Kayunga said, I sent the inquiry to the hospital and the district. I have not yet gotten my feedback from them because I am just leaving the permanent secretary's office where I had gone for a meeting, he said. So that is, that is the information coming through. Very sad in Livingstone. I believe, I really don't know. I think maybe just the advice would be, let's now ensure that maybe what we're doing to our people in Livingstone, maybe let's try to be as health conscious as possible. Let's ensure that we're not eating food that has not been washed, fruits that have not been washed, just to see, and the water should be boiled as well. Don't take tap water, just to see maybe the problem could be in the sources that we are putting in our mouths. And we need to try to mitigate that by just ensuring that we are also just paying attention to, paying attention to what we're eating, and etc. Not just people in Livingstone, but people everywhere in the country. Please let us be mindful of what we put in our mouths. Water should be boiled. Do not trust that it has been treated. You need to boil it still, and ensure that you have maximum protection for that water. So we now move on to the next paper. In the Daily Nation, we have Esther Lungu to be arrested, claims Nakachinda. So Raphael Nakachinda is claiming that former First Lady Esther Lungu is likely to be arrested and charged for aggravated robbery on a civil matter for which state police raided former President Edgar Lungu's residence in Ibex Hill. And Mr. Nakachinda has accused the law enforcement agencies of plotting to begin planting drugs on selected citizens, particularly those from the Patriotic Front, so that they could be framed into some criminal cases and be arrested. But when contacted for a comment, Zambia police spokesperson Ray Hamunga said the police was not aware of any plans to arrest the former First Lady. Mr. Hamunga said the Zambia police was not aware of any plans to have Mrs. Lungu arrested and have her charged with aggravated robbery, and that Mr. Nakachinda's allegations were unfounded. We do go to the story does continue to the third page of the Daily Nation. So we just read a couple more paragraphs there. Oh yes, here it is. As far as we are concerned, the police are not aware of such plans. We would want to take it that Mr. Nakachinda could have been daydreaming, Mr. Hamonga said. However, efforts to get a comment from Hussein Khan, the spokesperson for DEC, proved futile, as he only promised he was going to call back. Subsequently, calls placed on his mobile phone were not answered. But Mr. Nakachinda, the PF Information and Publicity's chairperson, is alleging that there is a directive to arrest Mrs. Lungu on charges of aggravated robbery. Mr. Nakachinda is claiming that schemes have been orchestrated in which some disgruntled senior police officers are training to create a narrative that the former First family could have been involved in criminal activities the time President Edgar Lungu was in power. He said there were instructions that former President Lungu's wife was expected to be arrested today by the police on allegations that she had stolen motor vehicles. Now this is the story. Mainly it does continue for a couple more paragraphs, but we basically get that information. So allegations coming in from Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Secretary Mr. Raphael Nakachinda, who is saying there are allegations that there are suspicions that the police are going to move in and try to actually arrest former First Lady Madam Esther Lungu for possible aggravated robbery involving the two vehicles that were seized at the former Republican president's house, Edgar Lungu, in Ibex Hill. Now, that is the information coming through. Definitely, you can actually go to our Facebook page where you will be able to actually comment, contribute. We would be more than happy to actually have you on this edition of the Millennium KWACHA Breakfast Show. We do check our Facebook page for any what do you call it? Well, for any any stories that could come out of any comments really. Any comments really. Let's see if we can check if we can find any comments on our Facebook page. We seem to have none. So that is Millennium TV Zambia. That is where you will be commenting on, and we'll have that conversation with us. Right about now, I will go on a short break, but remember that you can still comment on any of the stories that we've read since we started the program. Remember the stories we read from the Daily Nation. We read Esther Lungu to be arrested, claims Nakachinda. From the Times of Zambia, we read 6 children die, where there is a series of diarrhea cases in Livingston City. We have Nguzus giving pensions a headache, where polygamous marriages have been advised to consider having wills written so that they can avoid the situation. A situation where so that they can avoid a situation where when pensions are supposed to be remitted or given to their families, there are wrangles, as some wives would want to get a bigger chunk than the other wives. So that is the issue surrounding that. Right about now, we take a break. When we come back, we have more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Friday edition of Millennium KWACHA right here on Millennium TV with me, Karen, as well as Kondwani Maplanga. And of course, right before he went on a break, he was just reading through the stories. He started with the story, I believe, in the Daily Mail, talking about Nguzu's giving pensions headache. I do have a question though, Kondwani. Why are they called Nguzus?
You know, when I saw the headline, I thought, wait.
Like it's Mr. Nguzu.
Mr. Nguzu from like the actor giving pensions.
Right.
And then I thought about it when there was an S at Nguzus. And I was like, I'm sure this is talking about
polygamous marriages and
so
anything like that.
When I read it, I was like,
Anyway.
But it was a valid point. I actually wondered about it.
Do they have to call them Nguzus? That's
no,
valid?
Nguzus. No, I'm saying the story behind it. So the story is talking about you know, the Zambia National Pensioners Association,
right,
has advised polygamous couples or polygamous married people, to consider writing wills on how their pension funds will be dispersed. You get, because they've been receiving a lot of cases where you know, when wives are trying to register for their husband's pension, you find that the first wife will want to get the bigger chunk, the junior wives to give the junior wives smaller chunks. They've also been advised to also register the children that they have outside their marriage, so that even them don't start, you know, trying to. But they've been getting a lot of wrangles, you know.
Yeah, it's only normal to actually get wrangles in such kind of cases because, like you said, the senior wife would always be like, "No, I came here first, so maybe I have more rights than everybody else does." But you know, at the end of the day, they all have maybe like, you know, shares, if not equal, but something like that, including the children as well. Maybe even those born outside those same marriages, because there's a lot happening out there. But it's actually very right, and I think it's also going to be made easy for everybody else, instead of like, you know, wasting more time actually fighting about all those. They could just, if the will is read for them, so they would understand to say like, okay, this is what's actually happening, and you know, like that. So it's just like, you know, straightforward. So that is actually a very, very good move. To our viewers, please do remember, go to our Facebook page, Millennium TV Zambia. We definitely love to hear from you. As always, Kondwani is actually ready and already checking the page if there are any comments or contributions. So please go there, rush there, and of course, you get a shout out. Today is a Friday. What are you doing for Friday today? Where are you going? What are your plans? And also, you can call us on our number. It will be open very, very soon, and so you can also be able to pass those contributions and comments also via phone call. For now, we continue reading more stories from our papers. Let's see. Oh, that's well, I saw a story here. Sorry.
Maybe while you're looking for a story,
no, I've actually found it. I found it. Yeah, I've actually found it. So it's not the main headline, but it's part of the headlines actually in the Daily Mail today. On the front page, it reads, "President happy with police IG." So the details read, with only 3 months in office, Inspector General of Police Grafel Msamba has won President Hakainde Hichilema's approval over his efforts to rid the police service of corruption. The president also said the recent arrest of people in the Sujilite scandal show that the fight against corruption is not selective. President Hichilema was speaking when he met the Seventh-day Adventist national leadership at State House yesterday. The president made reference to the Sujilite scandal in Lopula province that saw Provincial Minister Derek Chilundika and Police Commissioner Gloria Mulele, alongside others, being fired after they were implicated. Some UPND officials were also arrested in the scam. I want to thank the new Inspector General of Police, Mr. Hichilema said. So far, so good. He is providing leadership. This clearly shows that there is no one under his leadership who will be allowed to be both a commissioner and a criminal. And the whole list of policemen, those were supposed to protect the public and cannot engage in criminality. Our intent is very clear. That's why we have said we will fight corruption of the past, present, and the future, he said. President Hichilema said his administration's fight against corruption has no segregation or ethnic persuasion, but rests on the values of good governance and accountability. I say this consciously, knowing that I have heard people making comments that this fight against corruption is political, targeting the former ruling party. No, not at all. Or it's ethnic because it's focusing on a certain group of people. No, absolutely not, he said. The president just took out the minister of Lapula province. We all know why he was taken out. And not just him, commissioner of police in Lapula province and the deputy permanent secretary. These comes from different ethnic groups. There is no ethnicity there. The president called on the church to support government in the fight against corruption. He thanked the church for providing leadership in leading the flock, upholding the moral responsibility, which he said is key to fighting corruption. And of course, there's one more paragraph going on there, but yeah, I think that is just about it.
Yeah. I haven't really followed
the whole Sujilite scandal?
No, not necessarily the Sujilite scandal. I haven't followed the activities that the IG has been engaged in.
Ah, okay.
So I would say that I'm not really too sure, like as of what exactly that he has done. I haven't really been paying attention, honestly. Mm-hmm. I have been. I think the focus has mainly been on police on the ground, I believe. So I wouldn't really have much, but if he's doing really well, then that's really, really great. I do commend them for the move on the commissioner. There shouldn't be,
no sacred cows.
No sacred cows. Yeah, the move of the commissioner. If she was truly, guilty, then she definitely needed to be, to be detained and prosecuted in regards to the Sujilite scandal.
All right. Right, but when the president is very, very happy. He's happy with his performance. I mean, he mentioned only 3 months in office, and of course, he's done so far. They've seen, quite a number of arrests, and also, I mean, that includes the Sujilite scandal and more to come, obviously. So, yeah, they are very, very determined and very keen in their fight against corruption. That is, so it is a very great thing, and we hope to see actually more, happening, and especially convictions also, and not just like people getting arrested, no suspicions of this, suspicions of that, then later, they're released saying no, there's no sufficient evidence and things like that. Honestly, that is disappointing, and it's sort of like it just paints a bad name on our country and also the service itself. But yeah, we hope to see more going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with that said and done, I believe I could move on to the next story.
Yeah, please.
All right. So there's a very interesting story here that says debt restructuring not a magic bullet to Zambia's economic woes.
Okay. And
this is by Musumali. So the full story is on page 3. So we do go to the 3rd page and try to see the story as we have it. Let's see. There we have it. Zambians should not celebrate the debt restructuring program because government should have done better than pushing the debt further and putting the debt burden on those who will be in government in the next 15 to 20 years. Socialist Party SP Secretary General Cosmas Musumali has said. Dr. Musumali said it was ridiculous to celebrate the debt restructuring and congratulate the UPND because nothing had been cancelled from the debt as the repayment had merely been pushed forward. Dr. Musumali said the government could have gotten a better deal than the debt restructuring if it had decided to meet the Chinese government directly to discuss the debt owed to that country. The debt restructuring is a disaster, but the UPND is moving from one radio station to the other, singing its own praises. They are also singing praises on social media as Zambians let us not celebrate poorness. The debt restructuring has not achieved anything apart from pushing the debt further. No single dollar has been removed from Zambia's debt. Nothing. Government could have done a better deal if it had decided to meet the Chinese over what Zambia owes China. Dr. Musumali said the UPND had failed to provide leadership and make right decisions from the time it formed government almost 2 years ago because it was putting the personal and business interests of its business partners and its slave masters. He said the agriculture, mining and other sectors have gone haywire within a short time because the UPND was an incompetent and arrogant which does not listen to advice. He said it was it was sad that some of the investors the UPND government was courting in the mining sector had bad records ranging from corruption, ill treatment of workers, failure to pay tax and other things. This is not a government that can solve problems in various sectors, particularly mining and agriculture sectors, because of corruption and selfish interests in agriculture sector. The fertilizer distribution has always been marred with corruption. So that is the story coming through. So debt restructuring, not a magic bullet to Zambia's economy. Now that's the thing. There has been a question. One economist, I believe, I won't mention his name, but he asked a very eye-opening question, right? The people that are celebrating the debt restructuring deal, do you know that only the plan has been agreed on, but they have not actually restructured the debt? They're still talking with the creditors.
Right.
So, and then he goes on to say, the thing is, we're celebrating without understanding what this means.
A lot of people don't actually.
Exactly. So debt restructuring, people are celebrating, they've brought debt restructuring, but we don't understand fully what debt restructuring is. What does that mean? From the Socialist Party Secretary General, what I understand is your debt having been pushed, like your deadline having been pushed further to around 20 years, I believe. And then they have reduced how much you will be paying per year, right? I believe we were supposed to have been paying like 600 something million, around 600 million. And now I'm told we'll only be paying about, I've forgotten. I don't want to start saying lies, but anyway, that's the point. I don't know if his points are valid, and but I personally believe that his points are valid, and it shouldn't be. It should be, yes. You celebrate, yes, but not to the extent that we're celebrating over it. I feel it's not supposed to be like that.
Well, you can't really tell how people are excited about something or but then, I think you are also right on. Like I said, I feel like most people don't exactly know what the whole debt restructuring actually means and entails. What it's going to do for our country and things like that. So it's sort of like just buying more time to repay a loan. That's what it's all about. But then while now once you're buying that time, what are you going to be doing now to improve the economy so you're able to actually get the money and pay back on time this time around that you have actually agreed on? So people, yes, maybe some people may not really understand what is going on, what it means, what it's going to do. I mean, we're just citizens, right? Yeah. At the end of the day. So yeah, there are different concerns from different different stakeholders, different citizens actually coming through because a lot of people are understanding it, in different ways. People are seeing it from, different angles, so how are they going to do this? How are they going to work on this? How are we going to achieve this, in this kind of time? There's so many sectors that need to be worked on, in order for our economy to improve. And looking at the fact that, looking at the pace that we're actually in working towards all these sectors, I think that's what actually calls for more concern from people. Are we even going to be able to manage and do this? I think maybe that is where the point is at.
Yeah, definitely. And also maybe just to add on, there's also another concern of whether or not this will be a sort of scapegoat to also borrow more, because with the debt restructuring, meaning it gives them the sort of, what do you call it, leverage to be able to borrow more. So there's also been a concern to say, I hope it won't be a situation where we'll still want to borrow more while we're servicing this debt, this already, big debt that we've done debt restructuring for, and then we start getting more debt. How are we going to pay that one back? So hopefully we can find a way that we can generate enough revenue to help us survive at least for this span of time. I know it's going to be difficult, but just for this span of time. That was one thing I also wanted to add on.
All right.
Well, let's check our Facebook page to see if we do have some activity going on our Facebook. Let's see, we do have some people engaged in the show, but we do not have any comments at the moment. Yeah, so you can definitely get interactive with us by going to our Facebook page. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Dropping us a comment, a contribution. We would be more than happy to have you on the program. Any stories over there?
Yes. Okay, maybe let me just, before I go to the IMF story, let me read the update of the Kaiser and Munya.
Okay.
So the headline, it's actually the main headline in the Daily Mail today. It reads, "I can find Kaiser Munya as Lumezi lawmaker finally gets his freedom." So it reads, "The court drama surrounding fugitive Kaiser Zulu and his surety Lumezi member of parliament Munya Zulu continued yesterday, with the latter promising he could rein in the former if given a chance. I engaged private people to locate Kaiser Zulu. I still believe that given chance, we can still locate Kaiser Zulu," Zulu told the magistrate. The 35-year-old legislator said this shortly before Lusaka senior resident magistrate Sylvia Oko cancelled a bench warrant she had issued against him, which gave him some relief from prison where he spent a week. On June 12, Magistrate Oko issued a bench warrant against Zulu for failing to appear before her to explain Kaiser's whereabouts. The magistrate had earlier issued another bench warrant against Kaiser, who is needed in court to open his defense in a case he is facing immigration-related offenses. At the time Magistrate Oko issued the bench warrant against Zulu, she said Tuesday next week as the date for the return of the arrest order. But yesterday, Zulu's lawyer Jonas Zimba applied for abridgment of time in which to hear the return of his client's bench warrant instead of Tuesday. Of course, this continues to page 3, but I want to believe that is enough detail, right? You got what that says, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I think that those are enough details of that particular story. So, I was talking about going to the IMF story. So there's a headline on the front page. It reads $189 million IMF cash loading. This is on page 3. Page 3 of the Daily Mail. So the International Monetary Fund, IMF, yesterday completed the first review of the 38-month extended credit facility arrangement and the 2023 Article 4, consultation, which allows for an immediate disbursement of spatial drawing rights equivalent to about $189 million to Zambia. According to a statement from IMF, Zambia's ECF arrangement is for a total of about $1.3 billion at the time of program approval on August 31st, 2022. It seeks to support Zambia's homegrown economic reform plan that seeks to restore macroeconomic stability and foster a higher, more resilient and more inclusive growth. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva says Zambia's authorities have made commendable efforts over the past 2 years to stabilize the economy despite the continuation of significant external shocks. Going forward, it will be important to sustain their commitment to the strong policies needed to safeguard macroeconomic stability, restore debt sustainability, and promote durable and inclusive growth, she said. Ms. Georgieva said performance under the ECF-supported program has been robust, including a significant fiscal adjustment in 2022 and measures to restore ZESCO's financial viability. She said going forward, further fiscal adjustments focus on revenue mobilization and supported by continued fiscal reforms, including in public financial management, revenue administration, and debt management will be essential. The increased level of social spending should be sustained to protect the most vulnerable, and further efforts are needed to mitigate fiscal risks, including strengthening the framework for public-private partnerships. The IMF chief said Zambia's agreement with the Official Creditor Committee under the G20 Common Framework on a debt treatment consistent with program parameters is welcome. She said swift finalization and signature of the Memorandum of Understanding with the OCC will be important, and the timely implementation of this agreement, together with agreements with private creditors on comparable terms, should restore Zambia's debt sustainability over the medium term. The Bank of Zambia should remain alert to inflationary pressures and continue reforms to preserve financial stability and enhance inclusion, even as the financial sector landscape evolves. Mr. Jiva said strengthening economic governance and addressing corruption vulnerabilities should remain a central aspect of reform. She said the authorities' commitment to implementing the recommendation of the IMF's diagnostic report on governance and corruption, including to enhance transparency and robust implementation of public procurement regulation, is commendable. These reforms, combined with the authorities' climate-smart growth policy, will provide a more conducive environment for private sector investment and growth, she said.
I'm a bit slow to understand that story. So we're expecting. What do they mean when they say cash loading? Like we're receiving more funds?
Also not really sure, which also makes me want to ask, is it all the funds that were released then, or maybe they released some and some were meant to be released after they see some change? They're talking about, some macroeconomic, stability, and there's a lot that really needs to be worked on in Zambia. Yeah. And even if we manage to get the fund from, the IMF and also these other things, there's a lot that we really needs to improve, and maybe at a given period of time. Because I believe when you're getting a loan from someone, so you want to let them know to say okay, in this period of time, this is what I'm going to do to enable me to pay back at the time that is that we probably would have agreed on at that particular time. So maybe not everything was released in the first place. I'm thinking, according to what I've just read here, I'm not really sure of the terms. We probably need to have, the economists coming here with us and just explain what this is about. But I believe that was it. And so having seen what is actually, being done, the fight against corruption is also part of the things that are actually mentioned by the IMF chief in here. So I believe, if I understood part of what I read, I think maybe we are headed in the right direction. Okay. I believe. Okay. Yeah. But if we have actually guests that are, viewers, sorry, not guests. If we actually have viewers that are watching and you understood word for word what I just read over the $189 million IMF cash loading, please feel free to actually let us know. You can go to our Facebook page and let us know. Or our phones open yet?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Okay. So please go to our Facebook page, Millennium TV Zambia, that is. Do let us know what you think or what your contribution would be over that particular story. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, we pick a story from the Daily Nation at this point.
Okay.
We do have tough draw as Zambia to face best ranked African team in World Cup qualifiers. I believe in the Daily Mail, or was it the Times of Zambia, where the headline reads, Morocco again.
Is that on the back?
No, it's in Times of Zambia, yes. Morocco again. So, Zambia has been paired against North African giants Morocco in Group E of the 2026 FIFA World Cup African qualifiers scheduled to resume in November 2023. The Chipolopolo, who are seeking a maiden appearance at the FIFA World Cup, will face the best-ranked team which made history by becoming the first African team to qualify for the semi-finals of the World Cup after impressing at last year's edition, which was held in Qatar. According to the draws held yesterday in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, Zambia will also face Congo, Brazzaville, Tanzania, Niger, and Eritrea, who are deemed as the underdogs in Group E. The most successful African country, Egypt, lead Group A, consisting of Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Ethiopia, and Djibouti. Group B has Senegal, DR Congo, Mauritania, Togo, Sudan, and South Sudan, while Nigeria dominate Group C, which has South Africa, Benin, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, and Lesotho. Cameroon, Cape Verde, Angola, Libya, Eswatini, and Mauritius will battle it out in Group D, while 2024 AFCON hosts Ivory Coast, Gabon, Kenya, Gambia, Burundi, and Seychelles will do battle in Group F. Algeria, Guinea, Uganda, Mozambique, Botswana, and Somalia will compete in Group G as Tunisia lead Group H, which consists of Equatorial Guinea, Namibia, Malawi, Liberia, and Sao Tome. Mali and Ghana will compete in Group I, which has Madagascar, Central Africa Republic, Comoros, and Chad. The top teams in the 9 groups will earn automatic qualification to the World Cup, while the best loser will compete in intercontinental playoffs to qualify. The 2026 tournament will break new ground as a tri-hosted version of the competition, with the USA, Canada, and Mexico also staging games, and Africa's major powers will be hoping to make an impact. Meanwhile, First President Andrew Kamanga earlier led a 3-member delegation at the 45th CAF Ordinary General Assembly in Abidjan. Kamanga was accompanied by his vice Justin Mumba and General Secretary Ruben Kamanga at the assembly, where the election of CAF Executive Committee members for the term 2023 to 2027 was made. The CAF Ordinary General Assembly also elected the presidents and vice presidents of the Governance Committee, CAF's judicial bodies, and CAF's Audit and Compliance Committee for the term 2023 to 2027. On the other side, proposals for amendments to CAF statutes and to the regulations governing the application of statutes, as well as to CAF General Assembly's rules of procedures, were also considered. So that is the story that is coming through right there from our local our papers. Now, the reason they say Morocco again is because Morocco was one of the teams that prevented us from that keeps preventing us from winning games. Usually a game against Morocco, it does not really end well for Zambia. So it's like Morocco again. Yeah, but I don't know. I have such high hopes this time around.
You want to put in your predictions for this one?
No.
I thought you said you have high hopes.
No. I have high hopes. I trust my team, but yeah.
You don't want to go with the predictions.
Yeah, I don't want to go with the predictions because, guys, I love our national team, but they're not really the best at
You just have to stand on one point. Really, if you're supporting them, support them. You can't be anywhere in between.
I'll always support them. That's not even the point.
You just don't believe in them, though.
Me, I'm like hardcore Zambian. Doesn't matter whether they are losing, I still scream Chipolo Polo. Whether it's 6-0, I still scream Chipolo. 6-0 and it's at 85 minutes, I still scream Chipolo Polo. But
where is the bat coming from? What I actually learned is that in any sentence, once you just put a bat, it just...
Okay, I want to add the but. What I will add is, I just don't want to make a prediction.
Okay, let's just start at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, right about now, we're going to go on a very short break. When we come back, Karen will lead the conversation coming up. Stay tuned.
Makers of the Vemi products, that's the Vemi liquid fertilizer and Vemi cast fertilizers. So we are here with our madam here to just check on the progress. This is one of our users of the products and here to testify what they have experienced with our products so far.
My name is Mary Nkoma.
Right. Please do tell us your experience with our Vemi products so far.
My experience with the Vemi product so far is that ever since I started using this product, I've experienced rapid growth, as you can see. Then I've not experienced the aphids like before. And before I started using it, we had a disease. I don't know the type of a disease, but they were worms. So far, everything has disappeared.
How long have you been using the product?
Used the product since August. After the agricultural show. Okay. That's when I started using the product.
The product very easy to use.
No, it's
and
very easy to
easy
use.
to apply.
It's easy to apply. It's better than applying fertilizer down there because you just spray the leaves.
So this is the organic fertilizer that she's been using. This is Vermiwash liquid fertilizer. Very easy to apply, and dilution ratios 1 to 10, which is good. Take for instance, you're getting a 1 liter, that's like getting 10 liters. And the fact that this does not only act as a fertilizer, but also a pesticide. So like she clearly stated to say, before this, she had pests and diseases, but now we have a nice vegetable that is appealing and from the looks, definitely nutritious. Have you had any bitter taste from your crop?
Not at all.
How is it? How is the taste from before you started using the Vemu products and after?
The taste is just I think it's the same. Nothing has changed because this chemical does not change anything. It's just natural.
Great. What would you want to say to others that haven't taken the product?
What I can say to others is just to encourage them to buy the product because it's not labor intensive. You just dilute and you spray. That's all.
A student at the Information and Communications University. For those that know, we are the makers of the Vemi products. That's the Vemi liquid fertilizer and Vemi cast fertilizers. So we are here with our madam here to just check on the progress. This is one of our users of the products and here to testify what they have experienced with our products so far.
My name is Mary Nkoma.
Please do tell us your experience with our Vemi product so far.
My experience with the Vemi product so far is that ever since I started using this product, I've experienced rapid growth, as you can see. Then I've not experienced the aphids like before. And before I started using it, we had a disease. I don't know the type of a disease, but they were worms. So far, everything has disappeared.
How long have you been using the product?
I've used the product since August. After the agricultural show. That's when I started using it.
The product very easy to use.
No, it's very easy to use.
To apply.
It's easy to apply. It's better than applying fertilizer down there because you just spray the leaves.
So this is the organic fertilizer.
Welcome back. You are still watching the Friday edition of Millennium KWACHA right here on Millennium TV with me, Karen. And of course, just before we went on a break, Kondoni did mention that we are going to jump into our second, or rather our main conversation for the morning. And of course, now joining me in studio is Dr. Francis Chisembe Cissoko, and of course we're here to just have a discussion about his book, and that is titled Occasionally I Traveled to Places on Leisure, Modest and Nosy Expedition. So we are just about to learn more about this book, its details, of course, when it was published and all those kind of details, and most importantly where you can get yourself a copy of this particular book. So Dr. Chishala, thank you so much for being part of the show today. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, so if we are just to go directly into our discussion, and of course, like I did mention to our viewers, we are looking at your book right here. So maybe you tell us what the book is about.
This is a book that gives a cover of my travel over the years. I can say it covers stories even as far back as 35 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Until recently, because I've been in many places. I think I've traveled in my studies. When I was studying for priesthood, I traveled to many countries. So I've been to more than 10 countries. And so in these places, some of the places I stayed there many years. So it covers my stories there. Not necessarily my student life, but it is more on adventure.
Okay.
My adventure, spiritual, and sometimes mischief. So you find some spiritual pieces there. You find some adventure pieces there. So each chapter comes with a different story, but more travelogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, hence the title, right? So the title reads, Occasionally I Traveled to Places at Leisure, Modest and Nosy Expeditions. This is actually, I don't know if the camera can pick this, director, but this is the book itself, and yeah, what it says about there. So how long did it take you to actually publish this book, Dr.
I could say first when I was in Cape Town, at the University of Cape Town, I was studying media theory and media practice, and one of my courses was travel journalism and narrative journalism. So in the journalism side, that's what I studied. So I started that around 2006. So some of the stories I wrote from Cape Town, adventure in Cape Town and South Africa. But then I had to recall back stories when I was still in school in Zambia, in Chikuni, and when I was growing up in Congo. So I have those stories back when I was just maybe about 10. And then when I was in college, about 21. And then it captures also when now I started traveling to Zimbabwe when I was about, I think, 30. Yeah. So it covers all those stories, and when I went to other places. So otherwise, I would say when I seriously started writing, it's 2006. And then in 2013, when I moved to America to do my master's, I had a lot of time. So that's when now I decided to put together these stories. Unfortunately, the editor at the defunct Post newspaper at that time allowed me to, requested me to be writing stories. At first it was like they wanted the comedic stories, but then I gave them a sample of a travelogue, and then he allowed me to write travelogue and some political stories. So I started publishing in the Sunday Post in 2013 up to 2016. So most of the stories actually were dubbed in the Post, the Sunday Post, as my journal. Yeah, so we are coming every Sunday. So I did that for 2 years. And then later on, of course, I traveled to other places after I'd stopped writing. And then, so I've been trying to publish this, compiled it together. The editors go through it as far back as 2016. But I thought like the time was not yet ripe. I wasn't yet satisfied with the script. So it has gone many editing and many people and editors like Brother Martin Chivige, Secretary Dad Brother, and Sister Beata Ndrovu, and also Father Roy Theden. And because Father Roy Theden was a media man and he was good at English. So those three went through the script, polished it, and then I had some other people look at it. So it's just recently now I felt that maybe I have now to publish the book. Yes.
Okay, so now the book is actually published.
Published, it's out now, yeah, printed, yes.
Okay, all right, that is good. But now, if I may ask you this, Doctor, so I mean, I believe a lot of people do quite a lot of traveling in their lifetime. Some that get the opportunity to go to different countries and also explore. Some maybe go there on business or maybe work and things like that. But you have actually traveled to quite a lot of countries in your lifetime and on just different occasions. Others maybe could have been you were studying, and others, like the book says here, just on leisure and things like that. What really motivated you to want to write a story about all your travels put together?
Okay, one thing, the program I did in Cape Town, especially covering narrative journalism and travel journalism, it was a course specializing in writing, and very much so not writing for newspapers, but writing for magazines and writing books, especially narrative journalism, where you do immersion. You go into a place, you immerse yourself there, and you come up with something. So I was motivated to capture that because one of my lecturer, Dr. Andrew Westner at UCT, actually discovered my talent and then advised me, because I was supposed to go for internship to Getaway magazine in South Africa. I was taught by also Don Pinnock, one of the great writers in Gateway magazine, and he was editor for a long time. So they captured, they discovered my talent and advised me to go on write a successful book. But what also again motivated me was that when I was writing those Sunday Travelogue in my journal, I was based in the US. Okay. So what I discovered that the post editors, Chalwe, would always maybe phone me when maybe I was busy and I had not submitted my script by Wednesday. So she said, no, they are waiting, so you have to do it. So I discovered that they were appreciating my stories and they really wanted me. So I would stop whatever I was doing and write and send. And also now when I came back, surprisingly, you know, where you get positive feedback, where I meet friends and then they get excited and say, oh, we used to enjoy your stories, you know. And then they go on narrating to you. So these people, they didn't take me seriously, where, you know, they tell you all the stories you wrote, you know. So these guys have a good memory. Right. And so because I discovered that I had fans who were interested in my work and who recommended me, and so I discovered that maybe the best way as a writer is to bring it together into a book, because many people were worried that why are you not writing again? Right. So I had to make it sure that I promised them that, okay, it will come into a book, because I'd written a lot in that period of 2 years. So I think it was more about the fans, about my lecturers, and also about friends who showed support and interest.
Okay, I see. What genre would you say your book actually falls under?
I put it as travel and narrative, literary journalism or narrative journalism. Okay. This genre type is very much popular in the West, whereby it's more leisure reading, right. Not facts, maybe like news type, but more leisure. And it usually comes in Sunday Times. You know, Sunday editions of newspapers, usually they write relaxed stories, not really news, whereby somebody can read and enjoy, like entertainment. So it's more entertainment. And I use what is interested in narrative journalism or travel journalism, you actually use the literary style of fiction, but while writing non-fiction.
Right.
So you find that I put stories with emotions in it, so that I capture the attention, and so it is so descriptive, and so it's the idea of narrative and storytelling. Yes.
Okay, so looking at the fact that now the book actually is out, you've managed to publish the book. How has the response been like from the general public?
Yeah, because I've tried to do some marketing on social media so far, and immediately there's that positive response,
Right.
and many people, you know, are following me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and also Facebook. They are looking forward to get a copy, because I've made it available in e-copy, going at 100 kwacha, and that copy going at 200 kwacha. So I've already started getting some orders, so they can actually get it from Motor Media Innovation,
Okay.
by calling 097 0519 524, and in that way we'll deliver. So it's not yet in the bookstore, because we are organizing a book launch somewhere by end of August or early September. So that book launch will be around UNZA. Some of my students in production tactics and techniques at UNZA, the third year, they are doing a project on event management. So they are the ones that organizing the book launch.
Okay. Yeah. Looking at the fact that, you know, so far you have actually received some positive feedback from people out there, positive response towards your book. What does that now say about the reading culture, not only in Zambia, but in Africa as a whole?
You see, there's a drive of reading culture. We have been complaining about this as authors,
Right.
Because this is not my first book. But what I've realized that there's been that interest in local content in the arts.
Right.
For instance, just to look at the music genre, people are enjoying listening to Zambian music, and which has somehow boosted the industry. So even in the literary creative writing, there has been that interest. So writers meet often. Like I used to belong to one which I would meet at Alliance Francaise on Saturdays, and and the others which we used to organize workshops and maybe display our books and discuss our books and encourage each other as authors. And many radio stations used to have a section whereby they would discuss books. I've been to, when I published my other book, A Robust Think Tank, I appeared on ZNBC with Manichiru. He had a program, I think, on a Thursday that would discuss writers and their books. And also Daniel Skazwe had another program on ZNBC. So I appeared on that. And I remember also having been to Chikuni Radio. I appeared also on Comet Radio. And so there has been that rebirth in the reading culture. Many people get interested in what they are familiar with and what they know. So I can't complain, but we are getting there. People are interested in reading. But you see, that's the strategy now we use, whereby you have to actually publish also digital content like e-copy, because most of the millennium or .com generation, they access information on social media platforms. Right. So on smartphones, on tablets, on the laptop. So they may not have that interest. So they may go the Kindle type. So in that way, we make the book available in those formats or platforms, so that it is available. And I would be interested actually to make sure that I can have an audio copy for this book.
Oh, okay.
So that those who may be very busy to read, they can actually listen to it as they are going to work, they are going to school, or they are in the gym, or they are cooking. So that would be interesting, because that is another format that is being used worldwide, where instead of reading, you actually listen to the content and to the book.
Okay. All right. Dr. Chishala, I do believe that, writing a book is not something that comes easy, even if you're writing about your own experiences as a person. But I really want to ask what kind of challenges you have actually faced as a non-fiction writer in Zambia.
It's these days, when I was studying in South Africa, by the time I was about to come back, and it was a transition from Thabo Mbeki to Jacob Zuma, but in just those few months, within 5 months, 5 authors had written about Jacob Zuma, and they had written about Thabo Mbeki. And I remember, because being a student of literary journalism and literary writing, I was able to get that. So many challenges which are there is before publishing was expensive, and sometimes people would prefer maybe getting it in a Kindle form at a very cheaper price. Maybe also our publishing industry had not yet developed, because maybe they themselves, the publishers and the printers, face a lot of challenges to sustain themselves. Just it is like also like print media, the difficulty which is there. It's more easier to run electronic media than print media, because of the cost and the expenses, and also the source of revenue is very difficult to come by. So but now there's an interest, an entry into the industry, publishing industry, by many local individuals, private. We no longer have those which we had like Kenneth Kaunda Foundation. They are still there. But there are others which have mushroomed, and they are doing a good work. My first book, actually, I published with the Partridge publishers in the US, but it was printed in China at a cheaper price. But now you see, publishing with Partridge, they do not. They publish your book, they have the copy, but they do not give you a package, a copy, many copies. You get 3 copies for something like $700, and then you have again to find a way again to pay for printing. And so China was cheaper by then, because it was $2 per copy. So I managed to print about 1,000 copies. But now in Zambia, and this is printed by Crown Arts. One of university graduate, Peter Mukoma, is doing very well, and and it is very cheaper. Because it depends on the package you get. And I think he has done a lot of work of many Zambian authors, young authors, because you can actually even print 10 copies. It depends on what you want, or you can do print per demand. When you have your fan and they order, then you go and print few copies like that. So in that way, even those who have shoestring budgets can manage to have something out, because you can manage even have 50 copies like that, because many authors are not maybe all that rich to come out with a lot of print like 1,000 copies. But what happens also is that, the traditional printing business is whereby you submit your script, and then they are interested in it, they publish you. But sometimes in that industry, Africans were disadvantaged. When you bring your script, they will not be interested in it for you writing in English, because maybe they would expect you to write in a local language. But now there's the world has morphed, and there's what is called self-publishing. So what I do myself, I'm a self-publisher, where I don't need a publishing house to endorse me, but I bear the costs and do the marketing myself. And sometimes I do promotions by going to places, talking to people, visiting maybe schools and talking to them and promoting the book like that. Some time back, for my first book, what I was doing, as I was serving as a priest, I would go to a place after Mass, I would advertise the book. And then after Mass, if I had 10 copies, for sure they would go. And that was the best way I would sell my book with those. So you find an opportunity to give a talk to people in church, in other events, and you have that opportunity to sell. And that goes very well. So you manage it every time. Because with publishers, if they endorse you and they say they'll give you loyalties, that's a challenge, which I discovered that I never received loyalties from Partridge, even if they distributed my book online, like on Benz and Amazon. Every time they say, they give something like a threshold that if we sell about more than 100 copies, then we'll give you loyalties. And so they claim that they have not sold that much. But then you find when you go there, your book is being sold as a second-hand copy, which means somebody bought. So they don't remit those royalties to you. You see, so that's a very big challenge. So the idea is to take charge, that you do the promotions, you do the sponsorship, and you do the selling yourself and the marketing. So in that way, you are not ripped off. Yeah, because many people these days, you end up, the middlemen get more, and you, the writer, the author, end up getting peanuts. Yes.
Okay, so just as we're about to actually conclude our interview for the morning, Doctor, the last question I want to ask is that, do you think there are actually many literary journalists in Zambia?
That's a genre that is very much neglected, but it's an interesting genre because, you know, when you look at writing for magazines, you know, it's all those features, okay? And it's not really news per se, but it's feature stories. But now this one, literary, takes in a form, like I said, fiction style. You know, it's a storytelling. You tell your own story. Like, you know, let's say yourself, you can actually write about your experience in the media. Okay, working in the media from the time you're a student and all that, what you have done, and your experiences of the media. Or maybe if somebody like a footballer, they can write about their life as of football from the time they started and the time they retired. So politicians would write about their experience and in politics, you know. And so also, you see, there are also what we call ghost writers. So those who cannot write, they can approach us writers, and then we write for them, or we co-author with them, and we get paid for that. So it's whereby sometimes you find these high profile people, they have published, but I don't think they're the ones who wrote. So it's ghost writers who did it for them, but because they paid for it, then their name is put as the authors. So that's actually, it's business somewhere else, where you enter into ghost writing, and you make a lot of money. You write for people, but you see also it depends, because you have to do a lot of interviews, a lot of transcribing, and so it's expensive. So when you come out, you charge people. Those who don't have money, they get worried. But those who are interested, and so it's developing these days. You know, we have authors like the former post and is it permanent secretary who has written, who has compiled also stories about his meeting great men in Zambia. You know, so that's a very big volume. Malupenga, see, Amos Malupenga is a writer, and he has been writing non-fiction, or what I can call narrative journalism. He has published in 2 books because he has been a journalist, you see. So many journalists, I could actually encourage them, those who have been covering a genre of a story over the years, they can actually compile that and edit it into a book, maybe rework it into a book format. You know, you bring all the articles you have written and make it into a book. And that's what our friends in the West do. You know, it's not that they start from scratch and sit for 2 months to write all those stories. No, they collect their scripts over the years and they polish them. Like I was mentioning about Amos doing that.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming through to the interview today. Unfortunately, this is where we have to actually close our interview for the morning. But just before I let you go, Dr. Chishala, are there any last words you would love to share with our viewers?
I would say that we have to support the local industry, especially creative writers, just like we have gone into supporting the music industry. And we see how good it is because we are promoting our own brothers and sisters, and in that way we are creating employment. You know, people with talent who are writers, they can actually specialize and take it as a full-time job, writing, because writing in other places is a full-time job. So myself, let's say as an academician, I can also maybe help people research, help them in research, guide them in writing their papers, and also mentoring them into writing academic papers. But also we mentor people also writing creatively, if those want to feature in non-fiction. But also even fiction, there are people who are talented, but maybe they have not yet discovered that actually that can be a profession they can focus on by developing their talent. So it's the idea is that whatever you find that you are gifted in, you just have to go out there and offer yourself. So myself, I couldn't just say because I know the reading culture in my country is bad. No, it's poor. No. But we go out, we publish, and with time, interest will develop. And these days, I think the new generation, they are reading a lot. They are reading a lot. And because they are more exposed to a number of materials that are coming out. Like when we were growing up, fiction would just read Pace Setters, the African Writers series. We didn't have much. But this time now, there are a variety. And I'm telling you, there's a big number of Zambian authors out there. When we meet, we get surprised, and we see a lot of us who are interested and who have published. So the idea is, I think we have to do more on marketing ourselves, promoting ourselves, like taking interest in going to schools, talking to university students, college students, and going to workplaces, promoting and marketing ourselves. So that's an area that those who are interested in writing can take. Take control of your publication, take control of managing your marketing and promotion. Don't let it for others, otherwise they'll rape you.
Okay, all right. And so lastly, just before we let you go, so where can people get themselves a copy about this particular book? At
the moment, before the book launch, they can actually call me from Motor Media Innovations, and then in that way I can deliver the copy. So at the moment I'm just doing that direct marketing and direct business promotion. Oh, okay. And so it's not yet in the bookstore. It will come there. I'll take them to the bookstore because I'm trying to do that this week and next week to try to make them access the book. And if they could want some copies, then they'll be available very soon. Yeah, okay. And then when is the launch itself? The launch is somewhere in August. Oh, okay. End of August or early September. Where is it going to be? It will be around Unza, one of the places in Unza.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so there you go, dear viewer. Those are all the particular details that you actually need to know about the book. Occasionally, I travel to places at leisure, modest, and nosy expeditions. This is a book by Dr. Francis Chisembe Cissoko, and so he did give us the details of where you can actually get the book. Right about now, you can call him if you want yourself a copy of this particular book. That is before the launch, but after the launch, which is going to be at Unza, and of course, the book is expected to be on the shelves. But unfortunately, this is where we have to end today's edition of the Millennium KWACHA. Thank you so much to everyone who's been able to stay tuned to watch today's edition of Millennium KWACHA. That is, and of course, on behalf of my co-host Kundwani Mapulanga and myself, Karen Chinda, including the entire production crew. Thank you so much for watching, and good morning.